Make sure you have a great multivitamin. If you are suffering with mold, you may want to look into molybdenum. That will also help with detoxification and help break down toxicity in the system. Also, if you have sulfite allergies, a lot of times that's just a molybdenum deficiency. Hello, Dr. Lori here. In this video, I want to continue talking about detoxing mold. If you haven't listened to part 1 already, make sure you go and watch that first, because this is going to be a more detailed version on what specifically you need to do in 3 steps on how to get rid of the molds that you may have been contaminated with. I know personally, I felt the effects of mold within 6 hours of seeing the mold in my home. And I've heard from many other people that they didn't know that they're living with these mold spores and these mycotoxins that are being released for a decade until they realize that maybe all their food sensitivities, the random rashes, the new allergies that have come up, the fatigue, the brain fog, the ADHD symptoms, and even just getting sick all the time. So if you have any compromised immune function, such as leading to cancer or other chronic diseases, then definitely want to get the mold checked out that could possibly be in your body. I've even heard where people have mold investigators come into the home and they search their house and they say, no, you're in the clear, there's nothing going on here. And then they find out later that the whole wall was just riddled in mold. So be careful of listening to these investigators and listening to the people that do these home inspections, because maybe that they're not checking areas that you would likely suspect. So for me, in my home, my bathroom is connected to my washroom. So I don't have a wall in between. So my bed is literally 2 meters from where I shower. And that's where we found all the mold going through actually the tile. And it's now leaking through our kitchen, which is absolutely disgusting. And I just wonder, how long has this been an issue for? So the first tip that I want to make sure that you're well aware of is opening up your detox organs. So making sure you're going to the bathroom every day, you're trying to sweat every day. This is whether you're exposed to mold or not. You want to make sure that you are exercising, getting circulation going. Deep breathing helps with lung detoxing. Clean water to help with kidneys elimination of toxicity as well. Now in this video, I want to get more in depth about using specific binders. When you are exposed to toxicity, there's certain agents that you can use that act like a magnet to bind onto these mold spores or these mycotoxins in the bloodstream to help eliminate it through bile and through a bowel movement. So for me personally this morning, I woke up, I had a teaspoon of activated charcoal. You can also look into humic acid or fulvic acid, even bentonite clay. Any type of prebiotic, probiotic, different fibers will help act as a weak binder to attach onto these spores and mycotoxins to help eliminate them. So you want to do this about half an hour before you do a coffee enema. And that is why I'm in my bathroom right now, because I'm going to go into more detail on what a coffee enema is and how you can do them at home. If you're in a lot of pain or you're stiff or just so tired and you just can't even imagine doing a coffee enema at home, then look into a health clinic that offers colon hydrotherapy, because this will also have a similar effect. They can add organic coffee into that treatment, which will also help with liver and how it releases bile, and has a very similar effect as a coffee enema. So about half an hour ago is when I took my activated charcoal. I did a teaspoon of that in a big glass of water. And then I started making my coffee. Unfortunately, at home, I didn't have the organic coffee that I normally use, which is specific for coffee enemas. So I used the organic type that I would normally drink. And that's okay too, as long as it doesn't have mold, there's no pesticides, no glyphosates, anything on this coffee bean, and it's made with clean, purified water. I highly recommend making at least 1 liter at a time. So whether you use the whole amount for your coffee enema or not, you can use more later. It prevents you from making a big ordeal each time that you're doing a coffee enema. So if you have this waiting in the fridge for you, I actually made about halfway of coffee, and because it was so hot, I filled up the rest with clean water. If you're really sensitive to caffeine and to coffee, just using 1/4 of the coffee that you would normally be recommended, and then you can fill up and dilute the rest with water. For the sake of what we're doing, it's more important for you to hold the coffee in your system for a long time versus having this really potent level of caffeine and only holding it for 1 or 2 minutes. Next, now that my coffee is made and it's chilled to room temperature, that's important. You don't want to put anything too cold or too hot into your system. You're going to add it into your coffee enema bag. I recently got the metal container, but the other ones that are BPA free and not using all the solvents or plastics, that one should be okay as well. So I'm going to pour 500 milliliters into the coffee enema container, and I'm gonna get myself situated on the floor here. Very exciting, right near my toilet, conveniently. What I'm gonna do is set up a towel right where my head is gonna go. Actually, I might put it this way. And then you can hang this, bucket. It needs to work with gravity here, so make sure that it's above your head. And what's nice about these is that it has a clamp, so you can control the flow that goes into your system. The actual speculum part, you wanna make sure you have some sort of lubrication, whether it's coconut oil or olive oil, put that on the speculum, and you wanna put the tubing at least 2 inches into your rectum. You want to check with your doctor to make sure that it's okay, that you don't have any tears or hemorrhoids or anything painful in that area, because that would aggravate it. Otherwise, you can go, you don't want to go too far with this, but you want to get it right into where it has access to the hepatic portal vein. So at least 2 inches in should be a safe amount. So I'm going to be lying on my back. I'm going to have the coffee enema container up higher. I'm going to allow it to go into my system. I can even have my legs propped up on the wall, a pillow underneath my glutes there just to raise it a little bit, so I'm on a slight incline. And then what I find personally is as soon as I put the water in, I have this immediate urge to go. And that's likely because there's stuff sitting in my sigmoid colon, like right at that pocket near the rectum. And so what I find is I'll put a little bit in, I'll hold it for 30 seconds. I'll take out the tubing, go to the bathroom, release what I need to release, and then I get myself set up again, and then I can hold it for a good 10-15 minutes. Another trick is you could even put on some meditation music, something that's just very grounding and allows your body to relax. If you're listening to a podcast or you can hear your family in the background, or it just feels very chaotic, that's not the environment that you want to create while you're doing a coffee enema. So the goal is to hold up to 500 milliliters of this coffee. You want to hold it in there for 10-15 minutes, doing some deep breathing the entire time, and then go to the bathroom and eliminate what you need to eliminate. The third really important part of this process is that you're replacing minerals and electrolytes after. So I have an electrolyte drink that has stevia. Unfortunately, I don't love the taste of that, but you can use any electrolyte as long as there's not sugar in it. I'd also highly recommend doing prebiotics and probiotics, so either supplementing or afterwards in the day having some sort of fermented kefir or yogurt, something to help put the good bacteria back into your system. The issue with doing continual binders like activated charcoal or the humic acid, fulvic acid, those can leach onto other minerals in the body too. So make sure you have a great multivitamin. If you are suffering with mold, you may want to look into molybdenum. That will also help with detoxification and help break down toxicity in the system. Also, if you have sulfite allergies, a lot of times that's just a molybdenum deficiency. So look into that mineral, but even just getting a multi-mineral complex, you can do that every night before bed, or just every time that you do a coffee enema, right afterwards, supplement with that. If you're on a budget and you don't have access to supplementing minerals, then you want to even look into coconut water or getting more sea salt into your diet. It's important to get those electrolytes, because if you are detoxing for a long time, and you're stripping away other minerals, then you may even find heart issues or fluctuations of palpitations, feel lightheaded, lower energy, and that's a whole nother avenue that we don't want to get into. So coffee enemas are something that you can do a few times a week, especially when you're dealing with mold and you're dealing with a chronic inflammatory issue. And the reason why it's so great is because it's helping how your liver produces glutathione. And glutathione is a very powerful antioxidant that helps get rid of these mycotoxins and the spores in your body. Either supplementing with glutathione through IV or in a liposomal form, or doing these coffee enemas. If you're finding that it's too much of a struggle to do these coffee enemas 2 to 3 times a week, then just aim for once a week and then the rest of the week supplementing with the oral liposomal form. Now, if you have any questions about this process from start to finish, make sure you comment in the comment section because I would love to help you get control of your health and get rid of this mold once and for all.